This episode of the Red Bull Rant is brought to you by the fine patrons that support us through patreon.com/Red Bull Rant. You can support us for the low price of $1 a month, and you can get exclusive content, including a monthly wrap-up for the New York Red Bulls. We want to send a special shout-out to our patrons who support us at $5 a month. That is our producer-level reward. Thank you to Jeremiah Dempster, William Martin, Clayton John, and Christopher Admack. Now, on to the show.
This is the Red Bull Rant podcast. If you aren't expecting adult language, why even bother listening?
Welcome, my friends, friends. This is the Red Bull Rant podcast. I'm your host, Jason Iapicco.
I'm Pat McDonald.
I'm Truman, and this is episode 327. No shirt, no shoes, no dice.
Ooh.
You guys should have joined me for that one, but that's all right. I'll let it slide.
If I can remember what that was from, I would have joined you. I'm drawing blanks right now, okay? A lot's happened this week. The Jets suck. The Red Bulls maybe kind of suck. Maybe gotten better. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I've been sick. My selling a house and going back to work. There's a lot going on this week.
Hey now.
So, two games to talk about. First, we'll talk about the Seattle game. New York went into Seattle, a game we all predicted they were going to lose, and they just did that. However, nobody got the prediction right because they lost 4-2. They, in theory, did better than we thought because I think only I predicted they scored and I said 1. But the matter they lost, they went down 2, tied it, and then dropped 2 more goals. Pretty much a copy of the LA FC match.
Yeah, seriously.
Except I think we didn't equalize against Seattle until after the halftime. Something like that. Yeah, it was 2-1 going to the halftime.
Yeah.
All right. I want to do this as 2 different matches, so we'll start with this. Truman, you have the tweets for the Seattle match?
Yep. And I have to get fans will give us a second as I dig and find the other one. But anyway, all right. So here we go. At Creepy Taxi, Steven Santos. Like we didn't see that coming. Shitty coaching and poor defending. Piss poor subs also. We are even worse. We are an even worse USL team. Also, if we played in Division 2 soccer. Oh, wait. We are even a worse USL team also if we played in Division 2 soccer in the USA every week. I'm guessing what Taxi means is that if we played in the USL, we'd also be bad.
Yeah, sounds about accurate.
CNY Metro Star just had the sad shrug shoulders gif. No, really, because how mad can we get when we all said they were going to lose, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But there's reasons to get mad over this game. Grateful Shred 23, Casey Jones said, I love this team, but this team in less than 1 season has made me go from borderline obsessed enthusiasm to borderline indifference. And that makes me sad. And Shep actually had a lot to say about that last night. All right, so let me find.
So I had those other 2 tweets that were not dimensions.
Okay, you gonna read them then? Okay.
Yeah. So these 2 were not in response to our tweet, but they were mentioning us. So first, Travis Moose at Moose_Travis said Chris Armas should be fired today in all caps. If the Red Bulls allow him back home, then they're a joke of an organization. This defense is atrocious and be ashamed to be anything higher than New York Red Bulls 2 level. BWP is done. Get some real effing players, NY. You're trash. He did not mince words.
If only you had a soundbite that matched his anger level, but I'm sure you don't.
It's fucking embarrassing!
Oh, you do.
I've heard that one before.
Or this one. Oh.
You broke that one.
Did our soundboard break again?
It did. I had to restart the soundboard. All right. And then I think this ended up being like a big... Yeah, this ended up being like 4 different tweets back and forth. So So New York Red Bulls fan page at NY Red Bulls SC said, "Why is it Chris Armis's fault?" Why is it Chris Armis's fault? He's the same coach from last season, and he won the Supporter Shield with an exclamation point. Do you think it's the same player's performance?
This guy been watching this team?
I don't think so. Well, I mean, this is like a newly created Twitter account, so it wouldn't surprise me. August 2019, yeah.
This is a newbie.
Travis Moore responded, Chris Armis took over at the end of the season after Jesse Marsh had left for Europe. He maintained Marsh's formation and philosophy throughout the rest of that season. This season, he made it his own. Now we see his skill set. Very poor tactics, both pre- and in-game, I'd say. And then the last tweet was from Red Bulls fan page. Winning the last 6 games is the reason to win the Supporter Shield. Atlanta was chasing us, which is false. We were chasing Atlanta, and they fucked it up on the last game of the year.
Yeah.
We won 6 in a row, but we were not the ones leading that race.
No. Yeah, they choked against already out of it Toronto, 4-0 up in Toronto.
The Toronto team was out in July last year.
Yeah.
And pretty much everything Travis said in the tweet before that about his philosophy and everything. We've said many times, Travis, on the show, as you know, you're pretty much in lockstep with us on a lot of these points.
Yeah. So likes and dislikes. Pat, we'll start with you since you have the cat in your arms.
I do.
Apparently, Red Bull Rant now has an official pet.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We have an official mascot. Her name is Banta, and she is very needy. So she joins.
I have 8 cats, and I intentionally lock mine out of the room while we record. None of them are the official mascot.
Yeah, they're all noisy, right?
Well, the one you guys hear when we do the pre-record stuff, it's just one of them.
Yeah. This one's not too noisy, and she's also asleep. So, So what am I disliking?
Yes, about Seattle.
It's just another poor defensive performance, and you had a 2-2 draw. You could have gotten a point. I mean, and after knowing what we didn't game we're about to talk about, you could have walked away from this road trip with 4 points, which would have been obviously well above all our expectations. And you blew it. You couldn't hold on to a 2-2 draw, and that's just again. I don't know how many times we've seen this defense just kind of let up and, leave points on the board. I think I saw, maybe it was on Twitter, maybe it was on this discussion group or something about how this team has just left so many points on the field by late defensive blunders. So it's, it's just another piece in the trend. So, yeah, that's my dislike.
Mine is very simply the first goal. I thought that was complete garbage. Garbage, non-call. I don't fucking care. That hand is touching a ball going right into a net, so I don't know how that doesn't get overturned. And to put the Red Bulls of all teams behind the 8 ball, 2 minutes into the game? That ain't good. Definitely not a place where they want it to be at all. And clearly try as they might, it just, 3 really fucking bad goals in that game altogether, honestly. But that I thought was just the fucking worst.
Can we make it 4 and include the penalty kick?
I guess.
There was a penalty kick goal for Seattle in that game, right? Not crazy.
Crazy.
No, I'm looking it up because I don't remember. Oh, no. Sean Davis just had the own goal.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
That was the third goal.
My dislike is that we have no consistency. Even when we play poorly, we can't play poorly consistently. Surprise. It's just kind of amazing if you think about it. I mean, Seattle's not exactly a world beater this year. And whether it's a handball or not, that first goal should not have happened either way. Defensively, that was just a very bad play by the Red Bulls. I don't get it. I mean, I know Tarek started that game and he came out hurt in it, but we have 3 regular center backs at this point. There's no reason to think you can't swap one out and, things are consistent. But nope, we can't even have nice things that suck. All right, likes Truman. Is there anything to like from this game?
I guess the only thing to like is that they fought back at one point. Right? Just like as they did against LAFC. They didn't lie down. They got back into the game, and unfortunately, it was a shitty fucking own goal that cost them the game. But, I mean, I guess credit to them that they did at least show some fight and just didn't pack it in after it was 2-0.
Yeah, I guess I'll just echo the same point. At least before they crumbled away, they did put in a fairly decent effort in to get back into that game on the road in a tough venue like Seattle. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to go with.
A tough venue which had supporters missing for a protest. So, It's not even like they were at full
capacity.
Yeah, sure.
Not talking about that.
No, we're not, but
we're not discussing the answer. We're just saying that a bunch of fans left.
Yes. My like is going to be Kaku scoring a goal.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you mentioned it because I could have mentioned that too.
Because it's been very rare. He's only had 3 this year. How weird is it, by the way? So, I think we can all agree from when Armas took over last year on, Kaku had not been the best player on the team, right? Like his production dropped, and we had the boneheaded moments in Kansas City, and I forget what the other game was. We got a straight red, but I feel like he's now our best player all of a sudden. And it's not, and I mean that's good that he's finally producing, but he's not even like producing a lot, and he's our best player.
It's because our other best player has an ankle injury and hasn't played in several weeks.
Indeed.
So.
All right. So we're going to save afterthoughts for after the second game. After losing in Seattle on Sunday, most likely they stayed out there, and they traveled to Portland for a midweek match. They won very surprisingly 2-0 at at Portland.
Shocking.
Yep.
Which this game honestly shouldn't have even been a win for the Red Bulls, but that's the whole thing.
Hey, listen.
Take them where you can get them.
Yep, the post giveth, and I mean the Red Bulls definitely had a couple chances that were spoiled for them too. So, right, so we call it even.
All right, Truman, do you have the tweets for this one?
I got tweets. Hey, it's Steven Santos again. Best road win of the year. We were desperate and got a huge win. Off the top of your heads, better road win than this? I mean, DC maybe?
Nah, because, I mean, we'd occasionally win down there. So I feel like a Pacific Northwest win is always kind of a big get.
But they played more solidly in DC. Like, they weren't in this downslide, and it's a surprising win. Honestly, I know they won like 5 on the road. I can't even remember the other ones.
Well, they won in Dallas.
Okay, so that's 3. Now I gotta look it up because I don't remember who else they beat on the road.
Good. You're gonna look it up. I'm gonna read some
Yes.
tweets. Casey Jones at Grateful Tread 23 said, definitely needed that. I had my reservations. Well, yes, we know. But maybe a kickstart to finishing the season strong into the playoffs. We'll see.
Cool.
Mark Reitmeyer at Amrighty says, how did this team get up for Portland? Whatever it was should be bottled up and used for the next game. Holy shit, no kidding, man. Because gotta go home and play the third best team in the Eastern Conference.
I think
wherever they are in the standings.
Well, NYCFC is just like pulling away the Eastern at this point.
Mm-hmm. Games in hand, man. All those games.
Philly is currently second.
Yep.
And okay, so here are was that the last tweet?
Yep.
Okay. Here are the Red Bulls' road wins so far. Back in May, 3-1 at Dallas. Also May, 2-0 at Cincinnati.
throw that one out.
Yeah.
That's good.
1-0 at Orlando in July. 2-1 at DC, and then this 2-0 against Portland.
All right, so I'm going to say I think Steve's right because it was definitely a desperate must-win situation for the team, and especially playing shorthanded midweek on the road in a place they hadn't won in 4 years, I think it was. Pat, I believe the last time they won, because they showed the highlights, I think you and I and Ian Perkins were watching the game at Darcy's, I believe.
That sounds about right, yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Is that the one with the double save on the line?
Yes, it was. Yep.
That was 2012? Pecky's first game, right?
No, maybe Marsh's.
I thought they said it was 2015.
Yeah, that would have been March then.
Yeah.
Look that up too. All right, likes and this. Actually, I didn't give mine. I would throw my weight behind the FC Dallas result more towards the beginning of the year. At that point, we had 3 wins, 4 losses, 2 draws, and we just came off of beating the LA Galaxy 3-2 at home, losing to Montreal 2-1 at home, and it was 3 days later. So this is like the third in a 7-day period. We were on the road at Dallas, and we went in there and won 3-1.
A team who hadn't lost at home yet.
And we gave up a goal at halftime, so it was 1-1, and we scored 2 in the second half to win.
Yeah.
I mean, Portland. This was Portland's game against DC repeated, basically.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So likes, dislikes. Jim, you go first. What did you dislike about this one?
I disliked the fact that as soon as the game ended, it was bedtime. It's the 10:30 start. Come on, man! 8 minutes of stoppage time. Good grief!
Yeah. It was really like 10:35 start, right?
Yeah. So literally, I'm watching the final 10 minutes, like in my bed, like, oh my god, end the fucking game, end the game. I gotta go to sleep. Can't do it. Midweek, it's not cool. Make these Saturday night games, and we're fine. Friday, Saturday, that's what this is for.
Yeah, 9 to 5 suck, don't they?
Yeah, 9 to 5. I know.
For this
midweek, this is a Friday. Then who would care? There's no reason to keep fans up, East Coast fans up at freaking 10:30 at night.
I wonder if this game happens because they compressed the schedule by a month.
Probably.
Like if they don't do this happens on weekends.
Probably.
All right, Pat, what's your dislike?
I don't know. My dislike, I guess, would be there was some kind of still some offensive ineptitude. I mean, it sounds weird when they had 2-0 win, but you know, I really kind of put this game more on the defense than the offense. You know, it's great that Kyle. I mean, come on, your only goal scored from the run and play was scored by a defender after all.
Yeah,
and the penalty kick was created by the same defender.
Yeah, so it's you know, it's once again we're still not seeing a great production out of our strikers, out of our wingers. So that's kind of where the disappointment lies right now.
My dislike is going to be the defensive performance because even though no goals got in, Portland should have scored at least 2 or 3 easy in this match. I mean, once again, the crossbar comes in as with its own save. I don't know who it was from Portland, but he somehow missed the if he just went to the far post, to the near post, a very easy goal. I mean, I don't know what's going on with this defense, but you could have very easily kept Portland from those chances, and you didn't. And that's the problem. And I don't know why, but I stayed up like a half hour after the game. I was reading one of the Reddit threads, and there's a Portland fan, and it's very accurate. What he said is that we scored a goal, and then we rode the rabbit foot of Robles' ass for the rest of the game. And I feel that's exactly what happened. Basically, we got lucky for 85 minutes.
Sometimes that's what it takes, man.
Oh, I know, but in the playoffs for 4 straight games, can't keep relying on luck. At some point, you got to have the skill to win.
Unfortunately for them, the win did absolutely nothing for their standings.
Yeah. Well, because DC won. Well, if they had gotten a point, it would be different. Because I think we're 1 point back of right now. We're 1 point back of Toronto, and who's in fourth. We'd be tied with them. We might actually have, yeah. If we get a point out of Seattle, we would be in fourth because we'd have the tiebreaker on wins.
We have 42 points. Toronto has 45.
No, we have 44. I'm looking at MLS's site.
Well, I'm looking at the app.
Well, apparently the app is wrong.
Clearly,
we had 41 going into Portland. So
yeah, they must not open. Updated this shit.
It has 42, so it's probably somewhat screwed up. But point being is, right now we have one more win than Toronto. If we got that point at Seattle, we're right now sitting in fourth place.
Yep.
And getting at least one guaranteed home playoff game. Right now, we're not looking that way.
Not looking too good, are ya?
All right. Likes the game. I'll go first. That goal by Kyle Duncan. I mean, I think it was pretty lucky the ball got to him in the first place, but the first time that across net past the keeper, that's a good shot.
I'm just going to say Wood is good. How's that? Wood is good. That's my like.
I'm going to like that out of the limited cable package I have in my office where I was stuck until 11:30 at night. MSG was one of the channels, so I was able to not miss the first half while I exported a video that I had to get out last night at my job.
Nice. And the ESPN stream is working pretty well, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I had no issues last night. It was crystal clear.
All right, afterthoughts. Anybody has any other thoughts on these two games?
Tons. I got a bunch to say. First of all, I want to bring up what Shep Messing said during this game, and pretty much how it said that fans are mad because this was a supporter shield team, but look at what the Red Bulls did in the offseason, and that was practically nothing. Losing a crucial player and not bringing anything in, and he laid it out on the line for those fans that were just thinking that we were just going to walk to another first place finish. I mean, let's look back to what we said to start the season, right? I'm sure we all had them pretty high up.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you just look at the realizations of this team and not doing anything to really improve it and just losing your star player, this is the result. Mediocrity. It's not going to kill me unless the fucking Smurfs win the cup, which they have a decent chance of doing right now.
LAFC.
I'm just saying they have a decent chance.
If LAFC gets knocked out, then right now New York City is the next to host it. So
yeah. Number 2, BWP is sucking a ghost. That man is a shadow of himself. There is nothing going on. Nothing. No, I don't know if it's just him not getting enough touches. Nothing. No creativity. I don't know, man. Which brings me to the other point is that this team is in serious need of Brian White, which who thought we would have said that to start the season? We, especially since we mentioned him week in and week out on the show when the team was doing well, that he was the guy.
Yeah.
He was the ball in the net. And, I mean, Barlow looked decent last night. He looked decent. He had a few chances. I like to say Tom Barlow like Stewie says Tom Bosley in Family Guy. Tom Barlow! But they are really seriously missing Brian White, which just goes to show how important of a player he is right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I can kind of go each point you just made. The first point, I mean, in deference, I mean, come on, just last night we were talking about this Sunday's game, and I was kind of like, man, I don't want to go. Now that they won, I kind of feel like I have to go. And it's like, I mean, I got to admit, the last couple weeks I've been very indifferent towards this team because they really have not been giving me anything, especially since Brian White went down, to get excited about. For under Jesse Marsh for about 3 to 4 years, I guess 3.5, right?
Yeah.
We established an exciting style of play with a good core group of players that got the team over the top more often than not. That style is gone. It's almost like we're watching Hans Bach's cynical soccer again.
Not even that, because honestly, Bach's soccer at least had some method to it.
Well, that's Thierry Henry.
Still a method. Still a method, though.
Yeah. So it's just, it's like, and now with, Daniel Jones coming around, I'm like, I kind of want to watch the Giants this Sunday instead, even though they're going to be an awful team anyway. What was the second point you made? I had something on that too.
BWP.
BWP. Oh yeah, the one thing I will say, if you go to BWP's Instagram page, his son's got some skills. He posted a little video on that.
Is he in the academy yet?
I hope so. He should be. So that's pretty much that. And I guess my final point goes back to Seattle. It's that MSG, for the love of God, make a fucking app for Roku and Google Chrome. Because for those of us who are occasionally in a situation when that's all you have access to, it's impossible to watch your matches, and that kind of sucks. So that's my one little bit criticism on for MSG there.
I'm kind of surprised they don't have an app yet.
That's Jim Dolan. He's too busy playing his jazz sax.
I mean, it just makes sense. Everybody has an app now, and you have mobile apps. It's not like you're not in that arena in some way.
Right.
There's a Roku app for a news station in North Dakota. So where's the excuse?
Yeah, good point.
There's literally like a Roku app toolkit or something like that that's for free. Like, it's not hard to make one. It's a shitty one, but you can make one.
Yep.
Jay, get on it.
See, I don't work for MSG. I'm not going to do work I don't get paid for.
You got that Red Bull Rant money.
Yeah, we don't have much of that. It goes to pay for the hosting. I told you that last night.
Whatever. We know he's
embezzling
cocaine.
laundering to the bakery.
Let's see. Do I have any afterthoughts for this? I mean, it's just, I'm tired of more of the same. I just wish we play consistently. Like, Shep was talking about how we were finally playing that same style again. I'm just looking at what's going on in the field. I'm like, we're not playing the Jesse Marsh style. Like, he was saying it was happening in the Portland game. I'm like, no, it's really not. What happened with Marsh was controlled chaos. That wasn't controlled chaos at all. That was just chaos in Portland.
Mm-hmm.
We just got lucky that it didn't bite us in the ass, but I know a big part of it is Tyler Adams is gone, and how do you replace a guy like him? But like I've been saying all year, right, even giving him Ray Phillips, 9 of 11 starters, there's no excuse for being where you are right now. I'm not saying they have to be number one in the East. I'm not saying they have to be a Shield contender, but they shouldn't be sitting in 6th place in the Eastern Conference right now, worrying about making the playoffs, let alone having a home game in the playoffs.
Which may mean, what's the biggest problem here? If you're returning 9 of 10 players and they're sitting in the bottom of the playoff standings, what's the biggest issue then? Who do you think's lost the team completely?
So here's the best parallel I could draw. So I know Armas didn't have a full season, right? I'm going to use Mike Pecky, and we're going to talk about him more later, but Mike Pecky in 13 and 14, right? 13, he wins the Supporters' Shield. And that year, he wasn't named head coach until, like a month before the season started?
Yeah.
Right, because he was like the interim coach until they decided they couldn't find anybody. He won the Shield in 13. I think they changed like maybe 2 starters, 3 starters that year. Like, they didn't really make any movement in the offseason. And he didn't make it back, but we were like fourth or something like that. Like we made the knockout game because it was the different format that year. But do you remember that year ever feeling like this year did?
No.
No, this is a bad year, man.
Yeah.
It's a bad year. I mean, they're in the playoffs for now, but it's a bad year.
And think about this, right? They expanded the playoffs this year to 7 teams.
Thank God.
You only have to be, you have to be worse than more than half the teams in the conference to not make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's kind of always been like that because it was 6 out of 10 and everything like that. But I mean, 58% of the teams make the playoffs in each conference right now. You pretty much have to suck to not make the playoffs.
Yep.
I mean, Montreal is 1 game away. We are literally looking at the standings. We are literally a 500 team. 13 wins, 13 losses, 5 ties. New England is 10, 10, and 10. They're even closer to 500 than we are, and they are still in the playoffs. Montreal is 4 points out of a playoff spot with 11 wins, 16 losses, and 4 ties. You don't have to be good to make the playoffs. You have to be good to win in the playoffs. And
we are not winning in the playoffs.
No. I mean, when I'm using it because it's the closest parallel I can make. When Pecky in 14, I think, like I said, they were 4th or 5th because they made that knockout game. We went to the Eastern Conference Finals, and we were, what, was it 1 goal away, 2 goals away, or something like that, from making it to MLS Cup. He came close. He came closer in the year after Supporter Shield than he did in the year with the Supporter Shield. So, again, I make the case. The point is that the problem is the coach. Or the biggest problem is the coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
I admit I'm kind of on the side of I hope we don't make the playoffs because I almost feel like if we make the playoffs, then it's one of those years where we have no expectations. And they make a run, then Red Bull Global is not going to see a reason to make a change, and it's just going to be more of the same next year. It's one of those weird things. It's kind of like the New York Giants right now. Like, I want Daniel Jones to be really good this year and maybe win a few games because it gives me hope for the future. But I'm afraid like hope for the future means Dave Gettleman stays as general manager and he's an asshat and I want him gone. It's the same thing. Even though I don't think Chris Armas is an asshat, I just don't think he's a good coach. I want him gone, and I want a new philosophy in terms of player acquisition installed in this team. But if they make the playoffs and then somehow go on one of those miraculous runs, which we've seen them do in the past plenty of times, I don't see any major changes happening.
I mean, it's like me with the Jets. I'd rather us, honestly, the way the Jets are, I wanted to go 0-5, 0-6, so I can just say fuck it and not care about the other 10 games this year. And honestly hope that Adam Gase gets fired mid-season because he was terrible in Miami and he's terrible now.
Hey, how important was that Portland win for Chris Armas? Because Saturday, the Red Bulls are having a private practice for Red members. Could you imagine losing both those games? Oh boy!
Go into it on a 4-game lose streak.
Yeah, it's going to be hot anyway on Saturday because of the way this team's been performing. But
he bought himself a little bit of a reprieve.
He did. I think a small one. Because he's going to go, things were tough in Seattle, but look what we did in Portland. We were able to take adversity and turn it around in short rest.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's going to lose to Philly on Sunday.
Well, before we talk about that, are we done with these 2 games?
Yes, we are very, very much done.
Okay.
Hey, kudos to everyone who made the trip to both games. There we go. Now I'm done.
Yeah, there you go.
Seriously. Because those trips are not cheap. So, all right. So here's the current playoff picture. Red Bulls currently sit 6th in the East with 44 points. They have 3 games left this year, 2 games at home, 1 on the road. Right now they are 13 13 points back of first place NYCFC, so they're not catching up to them.
Do the math.
They are 1 point back of TFC, who are currently sitting fourth. And like I mentioned, we do have a tiebreaker for wins on that right now. Probably more importantly, we are 7 points ahead of Montreal, who currently sit eighth. They're the first team out of the playoffs. And based on what Montreal's maximum point tally could be, 47 points right now get you into the playoffs. So that means the Red Bulls
win, right?
They need a win and a draw at minimum. They need 4 points.
Hopefully I don't get beat up in Montreal when we knock them out of the playoffs.
Well, Montreal's the last game of the year, so we'll see how that works out.
Exactly.
How much would that suck going into the Montreal game, knowing that if you lose, you're out of the playoffs because of who you lost to?
You know what? I'll be in Montreal.
All right. Prediction contest. We each got the loss right in Seattle. Nobody got Portland correct. So I have 17 points. Truman has 10. Pat has 10. And quick math in my head. If I can get 2 points better than you guys on any of the next games, I win.
Jay's got a near LAFC lead on this thing, so.
All right. Red Bulls on Sunday are hosting the Philadelphia Union. That game is September 22nd, 6:30 p.m. on MSG. Philly comes into this game with a record of 15, 8, and 7, 52 points, plus 12 goal difference. 5, 6, and 3 on the road, so not a great road team, but in MLS, there's not really any great road teams. So, last 5, because I didn't write it down, so I need to look up the form guide. Pretty sure they had decent win, loss, win, draw, so they're on a general upward trend. Predictions for this one. I'm predicting pain because the 2-0 win the 2-0 win in Portland did not convince me enough that they are going to be able to win games, let alone against the top of the Eastern Conference, and especially a team they dropped a 2-0 lead to earlier this year. So I am going to say a 3-1 loss. I think that the Red Bulls defense just is not good enough, and at some point the luck will not continue. So,
yeah, the luck that they had for one game.
Well, I mean, the goal frame has been player of the game for multiple games this year. So,
True. Who's next? Me next? Am I next?
Sure. Go ahead.
Well, either one.
Yeah. I the Portland game has not instilled me with any confidence. I mean, we've seen this before, what with their performance in LAFC, and they just came back, laid a bunch of eggs here at home. So I'm going to go with I'm going to go with 2-0 loss. I see the offense going back in a shell. And, we're not going to, I don't really expect to see much. I expect disappointment. I'm going to expect me wishing I'd stayed home to watch the Giants, because that would have been great.
I will still watch some of them anyway. All right, so the only reason I have to be different is because this is the only chance I have of catching up to Jay and taking his belt away from him. So I have to be different. So this is what's going to happen. I believe they said on Wednesday night that the Red Bulls tied a record for the most amount of different players scoring in one season, right? Something like
maybe I didn't hear that, but
it was like 18 different players or something like that. So the Red Bulls are going to break the record, own the record of most players scoring in one season, because Josh Sims is finally going to score a goal in this game.
There you go.
This is it. Lock it up for his goal. To be different, because there's no reason why the Red Bulls should ever win this fucking game. They are absolutely dreadful at home. They're a dreadful team. They're a mediocre team. Philly is not a mediocre team. But for the sake of being different, the Red Bulls win this one 2-1.
By the way, Josh Sims has not scored a professional goal.
And so he's scoring. Okay.
Ever.
Okay. Well, it's got to happen at some point, right?
Yeah, I guess. He scored 2 for England U17 and U18.
Listen, he's looked good, honestly. He's looked pretty solid. He's had moments.
No, he has.
He had a really good chance in this game against Portland.
Don't get paid for chances.
Well, he's about to get paid.
All right. New York Red Bulls 2 have had 2 matches since our last episode. One was a 2-0 win versus Charlotte Independence, then a 2-0 loss versus St. Louis FC. That puts their record at 17-5-7, 56 points plus 32 goal difference. First in the East, second in the league. Right now they're actually tied for first, but they are number 1 based on goal difference. The next match is away to Louisville FC on Saturday the 21st at 7 p.m. Sky Blue FC lost their last match 3-0 to the Chicago Red Stars. 4-4-13, 16 points, minus 14 goal difference, 8th in the league. Next match is away versus Seattle Reign on the 21st at 10 p.m. And their home finale, which is set for September 29th, has been moved to Red Bull Arena. And they'll be taking on the Orlando Pride.
At 11 in the morning.
Oof.
Hey, it's still something, right?
Yeah, it's just because it's a doubleheader that day, so.
True. Red Bulls are... I don't remember what time they're playing that day.
I think it's 5.
So it's a little bit of a day-night doubleheader.
2 separate games, so you got it paid twice.
See,
I'll be on mini vacation.
if the Red Bulls were smart, they would offer free tickets to whoever shows up to the Sky Blue game. All right. So with that, it's time for the dumping ground.
I'm the trash man.
All right. So first, I don't know about this tweet from Adam Lane. Should we talk about that first?
Sure, because I have it right here.
Okay.
I just want to say that he tweeted us after the show last week because he did listen to our ramblings. So he just said, yeah, he had a segment idea. Segment ideas. What two New York teams will win this week, and call it the Yankees and right, which is pretty good because the Yankees team
is only one New York team an option.
Well, no, you two New York teams win. You know.
Well, I mean the Jets are losing; they're playing the Patriots.
Right, but see, what he's saying is like, who do you think is going to also win? The Yankees this weekend. So I'm going to play that game right now because the Mets are going to win this weekend because they're playing the fucking Reds. Okay, that's a gimme. That's a gimme.
Going with the Mets.
Oh, which one's higher, the number of fights with the Reds or the number of runs scored by the Mets?
Wait, say that again. What do you want to do? What
number of fights between the Reds and Mets, or the number of runs scored? Which one's higher?
Fights. I'll take the fights over a run scored by Cincinnati.
Baseball fights are so sad.
Yeah.
It used to be awesome.
So he said, or should we just take a good visceral dig at a garbage person that you guys or the audience deems needed to be taken down a peg? He said anything to pass the time till the end of the season. I'm going to give that to whoever fired Chris Carlin off of WFAN. Just because he's the Rutgers football guy and I like him.
Yeah. What was his point again?
No, he just wanted us to take a good visceral dig at a garbage person that we or our audience deemed needed to be taken down a peg.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's Mike Francesa then. He's the one responsible for Chris Carlin getting fired.
There you go.
Yeah.
Didn't we bash him the other week? I think we did.
Yeah.
I probably for the same reason.
Yeah.
Probably because of Chris Carlin.
Yeah.
I'll also say Dave Gettleman, who for 2 years says, I understand talent. This team's a competitor. And they've been garbage. The Giants have been absolute garbage.
I'm going to go Greg Williams because you can't come into this team and blow a 16-point lead against the Bills in week 1 and give up 23 fucking points to the Browns in week 2. I'm sorry. How do you call yourself a defensive coordinator?
We're going to call you out on this.
Listen, when you're down to your third-string quarterback
No.
Everything.
Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator. I did not call out Gase. I'm saying the defensive coordinator.
That's
right.
just it. We're still calling you out on this because when your offense can muster up 23 yards by the fourth quarter or whatever it was, you can't expect your defense to keep coming out and pitching a shutout. I mean, and then they held for a long time.
They did.
And when you play Odell Beckham Jr., I don't care how good your defense is, you kind of have to expect he's going to break one like that.
It was 13 points in the first half, 10 in the third quarter. So I mean,
yeah, but again, when you're down to I think we were both laughing at you as you were losing your mind. Like, this defense sucks. I'm like, have you watched the offense at all today? Like,
oh, see, I already knew the offense sucked.
Yeah, but I mean, like at a certain point, you can't. It's kind of like there have been years like that with the Rutgers, where like their offense just can't do anything, and the defense holds like for 3 quarters, and then just finally breaks.
Yeah. If they get some semblance of an offense by week 5 and they still suck, then we'll complain some more. But they got to get C.J. Mosley back. They got to get their starting quarterback back.
Which that could be another 6 weeks.
Yep.
They said 4 to 7.
Yeah. If you want to give Greg Williams shit, it's for saying Odell who or whatever it was.
For running his fucking mouth. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on.
All right. So
if our fans have any more people we need to bash, let us know. Tweet at us, and we'll bash people for you.
Sure.
Yeah.
We'll gladly bash them.
Give us more segment ideas, since like I think we're even kind of sick of talking about this crappy Red Bull team.
Yeah,
sure.
It's bad.
And do me a favor, if you're going to give us segments, give us ideas for the sound effects. I'll just throw more on the soundboard. I have room. All right. Mike Pecky. I talked about him a little earlier, but he's in the news this week because of his interaction with RSL. If you don't know what happened, back in, I don't know, June or July, whenever the Leagues Cup thing happened, RSL was playing a home game, and Pecky was not happy with the referees, and his anger took over, so much so that after the game, he went to his office, wrote on a note, or wrote the word, the curse word that begins with a P, because I don't want to mention it, on a piece of paper, and held it out for the referee in the tunnel after the game. Like, it's not just yelling at him. He literally left, went to get a piece of paper, and then came back. So, I mean...
Yeah, he lost his fucking mind.
Yeah. So, right now, he is suing RSL for what he is calling breach of contract and public defamation of character. So, the defamation of character part is... I think there's like some press releases after he got fired that he disagreed with. Basically, he is saying that RSL is hurting his chances to get rehired in soccer. The breach of contract part is, from what was put in the brief at the court, is sort of interesting. So, according to Pecky's lawyers, after the incident in the Leagues Cup, he was suspended, and that was already public knowledge, but his contract with RSL was amended. Apparently the amendment that was put in was basically, if something like this happens again, you will be fired, kind of language. So, fast forward to whenever Pecky got fired, I forget exactly when, but he got fired for cause, according to RSL. Perfectly legitimate based on whatever happened, right? Pecky's lawyers are saying because they amended the contract, they forfeited the right to fire for cause for the incident in the Leagues Cup. Therefore, because he got fired for cause after the fact and there was no other reason for firing, he is owed the money left of his contract. And apparently what happened was the CEO, I guess, or whoever that runs RSL was running his mouth to a bunch of RSL fans, talking about how he was going to take care of the situation. Video got out, so he was trying to cover his ass. In private meetings before the firing, Pecky was offered $75,000 to resign, and Pecky was basically like, "No, you owe me $500,000 next year. I'm not going to walk away from it," and therefore he was fired. No idea what's going to happen, but I think it's kind of interesting, especially because of the whole supposed contract amendment and what that would mean for being able to fire for a cause and all that stuff.
Yeah, that sounds real shady. Like suddenly a contract gets amended. I mean, we're not going to go on and on about this, but I think honestly, was he fired for a right reason? Yeah, the team has the right to fire him for something, but that Should he get paid? Yeah, you fired the guy before his contract ended up. So yeah, that's what
and
you
because
do.
you specifically,
Pay the guy.
assuming the amendment is true, if you specifically addressed the incident and said we're not going to fire you for it right now, you therefore, in theory, waive your right to do it for that incident.
Right. They didn't amend the contract, and then he showed up and kicked the owner in the ass and say, suck my balls. And then they go, okay, well, we're going to fire you for that.
Yeah.
Exactly. It does sound like a lot of shady going on. I mean, yeah. Again, I don't know how many supporters Mike's going to get in the public atmosphere right now, but at the same time, look, that's the light of the world. You sign a contract, you get paid.
Yep.
You get paid. And yeah, he made a grievous mistake to just lose his mind like that. But yeah, I gotta say, and when it comes to the letter of the law, not that I'm a contract lawyer or anything like that. Yeah, if you get fired in professional sports, you get fired, you get that money.
I mean, so the contract does have a clause that says if something were to happen, that he could be fired without getting the rest of the contract. I mean, I think at this point, pretty much all professional sports contracts, coach or athlete, whoever, have that kind of clause in there, right? Because teams want to protect themselves, especially for a PR disaster. But if after an incident, you specifically say, all right, we're going to put in the contract that you basically had a warning, you can't really go after him for that. I think that's ultimately what it comes down to, is whether that quote amendment to the contract actually happened, and if it did, if it was legal, and it binds the team to not firing him for the incident in the Leagues Cup. All right. Anything else for the dumping ground?
Nah, we've gone long enough. I actually had stuff, but we could talk about it another week.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, forgot. Jesse Marsh, because I have to mention it. First American coach in the Champions League, first American coach to win a game in the Champions League. Red Bull Salzburg, what was it, 6-2 over Genk?
Gank.
It was 6-2, I think 5-1 at halftime. And I think he's gone 7 games in the Austrian league without where everything's been a win.
Yep.
So he's off to a really great start out there.
I heard the advanced passing statistics weren't up to snuff, though.
They'll have to amend his contract.
Got to get those advanced passing statistics up
Get
there.
them up, or you're fired.
All right. So if that's it for Dumping Ground, it is time for Pat's Betting Corner.
All right. I didn't really love many games this week, but I did put in a parlay already. I'm going with Atlanta United at home over San Jose, LA Galaxy at home over Montreal. Actually, I think that is at home. Never mind. And LAFC over Toronto at home. So that is my 3-team parlay for the week.
Is LAFC's at home?
Yeah, I believe so. Yes.
So that would actually spell really good news for the Red Bulls if they can get a result and Toronto lose on the road.
Mm-hmm. That'd be nice.
That's an if, though. I don't think they can get a result.
Yeah.
All right. Time for the last segment, Truman's Terrible Team of the Week.
That's terrible.
I mean, did you guys watch MLS this week? Did you pay attention at all? Because
Not
it's
really.
probably the easiest thing ever.
Aside from the Red Bulls, honestly, I didn't.
Well, that's the LA Galaxy beating Sporting KC 7-2. Yeah.
Still not 7-0.
Yeah, Ibra with the hat trick. I think they said LA's the first team to win a game by 7, score 7 goals and give up 7 goals, something like that. But yeah, Ibra scored 3, and then he said he's the greatest player in MLS history. So, which they also talked about at halftime at the Red Bulls game last night. Is he the greatest player is he the greatest player to ever play in MLS? Obviously it's no, because obviously that is Thierry Henry, one of the greatest players of all time, better than Ibra. He was a great player.
And then you have David Beckham.
Scary player for Arsenal? I mean, Jesus Christ.
Maybe for Eber, is he the most entertaining player to ever play in MLS?
Yes, that is probably yes, because Thierry was not.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's just grumpy.
Thierry Henry is not a Ferrari. Let's just consider that.
So yeah, easy gimme. I mean, 7-2. That is just a shellacking.
Yeah, that's brutal.
All right. Anything else before we get out of here?
Nothing.
No, I can't wait to be fucking uninterested at the Red Bulls game on Sunday. I'm actually looking forward to it.
All right. Let's wrap this one up. You can visit us at patreon.com/Red Bull Rant. $1 a month is all you need to get exclusive content, such as our monthly wrap-ups and other stuff, maybe live post-game, stuff like that. You can email us, redbullrant@gmail.com. If you want to call us, 973-348-5329. On Facebook, facebook.com/Red Bull Rant. On Twitter, @Red Bull Rant for the show, at Doc the Stooge for myself, @PMEC, DA2 for Pat, @The Truman for Truman. Subscribe to our show via iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play Music, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, pretty much anywhere you can find a podcast. Last words before we get out of here.
I'm the only one that has a false sense of faith in this team this weekend, and it is only because I want to somehow catch up to Jay. But that being said, Pat, we are going to see the Giants win their first game of the year, and then the Red Bulls, for no reason whatsoever, are going to win.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
All right, for Pat, Truman, and myself, this has been episode number 327 of the Red Bull Rant. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, go Red Bulls.
Aloha, Mr. Hand.
Later.